DAOs.
Sorry, I forgot.
You're good. No worries. So just started listing DAOs, started from 0, and now we have over 150. And yeah, I saw you guys post. I was like, hey, I'd love to join. So that's what I've been doing. And I'm taking a different approach. Instead of pulling API and just getting the DAOs, I could probably list like 1,000 DAOs tomorrow. I'm going one by one and creating it organically. So it's just a little bit different.
How about you, Spencer?
Sure. My name is Spencer. The handle is Clinomatic. That's what I go by in Discord. I graduated film school in 2020 and then sort of slowly transitioned into Web3 from, I started learning about it from a computer science perspective, but I haven't stuck with that as a focus. And I've been getting involved in a couple DAOs, PubDAO, Lobby3, and PubDAO is where I met Eric actually. And then from there, the JournoDAO server spun off and it's been building ever since then.
Crystal, you're next on my screen, so that's just how I'm going.
Hi, I'm Crystal. I have a photojournalism background. I began working as a staff photographer in like 1996. Studied journalism, mostly local and regional news. Studied journalism at UNC Chapel Hill and got into crypto in 2017, mostly on the communication side. So I've been working in the space off and on ever since. Member of a few DAOs. This is probably the one I'm the most active in now. Some of them are just kind of like a dumpster fire. But I'm also part of the Unlock Protocol DAO. I was their community manager up until March. I'm also an undergrad again, studying yoga studies. So just finished my semester and just found out, I think I got a 4.0, which is shocking because I'm normally like a solid C+ student and I'm cool with it. But yeah, I guess, yay yoga. So that's me.
I feel like there's some jokes in there somewhere, but I'm not going to go there. Eric, Eric with a K. I don't know if you're in a place where you can come off mute, but if you can, go ahead and give us a quick intro if you don't mind.
Hey, hi. I'm Eric Noble. I'm from Mexico. I have been editorial designer here for more than 10 years, and then due to the status of the industry, I decided to jump into UX design, and from there I jumped into crypto. I was thinking that I will never come back to newspapers, but then I saw JournoDAO, and it really is something that I think is pretty basic, an idea that is something that it fits right into Web3. So I think it's a great idea. So here I am.
Awesome, excellent. Well, welcome. Good to hear your voice and good to have you. Eureka John might be at work. I think sometimes. Oh,
hey y'all.
There he is.
No. I'm driving on the road between Austin and New Orleans, in the middle of the swamp. So my daughter's graduating college, so I'm going to go see her college graduation. So yes, I'm that old. I got into crypto in 2018, just kind of poking around. In 2020, I got really serious about it because I realized crypto is more than about speculation. It was about Web3, and I hit it right at the DeFi summer and got absolutely hooked, and ended up starting my own YouTube channel. I've always been kind of a pirate journalist in a way. Started going way back to high school, like an underground newspaper. Then in the early 2000s, I had a pirate radio station. And now I have my YouTube channel. So it's always kind of operated like that. Did a lot of research and writing. I went to seminary at Union Theological in New York. Got my Master of Divinity there. And so I'm not really a journalist per se, but kind of a de facto pirate journalist, I guess. Always been kind of a rebel in that way.
The hardest working pirate journalist I've ever met. But the real reason I set up this meeting, if I'm being honest, is to hear how your job interview went, John. You got an update?
Oh, yeah, I did the second interview and it went really well. They said I'm a very strong candidate and I should know something soon. But either way, I've put in notice at my factory job that I work at. And yeah, man, I'm going full DAO either way. I don't care if I have a job or not. I'm doing it.
Awesome. Well, good luck and congratulations to your daughter.
Yeah.
Right on. Thanks. Yeah, she's doing digital media.
Is that Tulane?
At Loyola.
Loyola. Awesome. Right on. Proud dad. Cool. So the one thing I put down here, I don't know. First off, any like additions to the agenda? I don't know, since John, since you're here, I don't know if there's anything that you wanted to say about list of DAOs to kick us off, or no.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everything I do is free. Like I said, I just started listing DAOs. It's super simple. I use mission statement and essentially just a link to your website, and that's pretty much it. I was kind of going, when I started this, my kind of idea was I did see the competitors out there and they were like metrics driven, and for sure metrics, provide useful information, but I also wanted to help out the small guy and just be like, hey, this is what this project is doing. If you're interested, here's a spot that you can find it and do it. So I just use, I like to get permission to use your logos, because you'll see like the tiles on our site are just like logo, mission statement, and then links. It's super simple. And yeah, that's what I keep it at. And then we also, I write articles too. I'm not a journalist or anything like that, so don't critique my articles, please. But yeah, but I do articles and I just do videos, and those are also for free. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's super simple.
Cool. Well, we haven't taken a vote, but I think I can assume that we'd certainly be happy to be on the official list of DAOs. So yeah, and thanks, of course, thanks for thinking of us and for reaching out, John. So I guess I can do some quick updates, just kind of about what's been going on, and then can tap in Keith and some other people. But some of the things from the past week, we did a little bit over a week ago. We did our kind of an experimental Twitter Spaces over the weekend, where we talked about maybe taking our call to adventure / long-term goal of buying a newspaper, and what if we had a stretch goal and thought like gargantuan in terms of goals, and thought about well, maybe we want to try and buy a CNN. And so we had a Twitter Spaces about that, and kind of talked a lot about the business models of news and Web3, and kind of kicked it around. And we haven't discussed it much, but I mean, like I've said in a few places now, if enough money were to materialize to buy CNN, I do think we could probably be a steward of both that money, a better steward of both that money and of CNN than CNN. That's just my take. But yeah, so that conversation, it's on the table. Conversation continues in Discord and in the metaverse, I suppose. So some quick. Oh, also last week we had a nice little feature in one of the Bankless newsletters, and so I think maybe some of our newer members to the Discord have come through there, and got a nice little bump, I think, in that and in Twitter followers. So that was cool.
Did I put that in the update? I feel like I forgot that.
I don't know.
Should add that.
We could toss that in there.
I think you did. I think you did put it in there, but I'm not positive. Thought I saw it.
You want to talk about the newsletter real quick, Keith?
No, keep going. I didn't want to derail. I just thought of that.
That's okay. Well, that is happening. I'll let Keith talk about that. The only other thing in terms of updates I was going to mention is just kind of refreshing where we're at with some of our partners. I invited Alana from Ukraine DAO, and she might be popping in briefly at some point in the next hour, if she can make it. I know she was working on basically, and I think this was in one of our Telegram chats with her, that they're basically working, I don't think it's been officially announced, but they're working on putting together a hackathon for all kinds of stuff to do with basically Ukraine. I mean, like, well, I don't know, it's a hackathon. So the exact projects haven't been announced yet, but there was some discussion of one involving journalists. And just so you know, John and Eric, we have a partnership with JournoDAO where they're helping us to identify some journalists reporting on the war that can help test our prototype feed. It's Keith, you want to explain it real quick?
Yeah, it's like a decentralized feed or a content stream over a decentralized network that the creator can kind of control end to end and get paid from their audience directly.
Cool. So yeah, the goal, we've got some funding. Keith secured some funding for both JournoDAO and for the development of that prototype. And so hopefully, once it's fully functional and has a nice back end on it, there'll be somebody in Ukraine testing it for us. So hoping to hear more from Alana soon about other ways to partner, maybe have a role in this hackathon that's coming up. So looks like there's more stuff with JournoDAO going on. I did want to just mention, Keith and I have had some conversations, and I've mentioned on these calls before, about conversations we've had with DiamondDAO, which is building this platform called Chainverse, which is kind of like takes web data from Web3 and from elsewhere, and basically looks to document the relationships between different entities in Web3. And I was on their Genesis cohort kind of beta testing the platform, and gave them some feedback in terms of how I thought it might be useful for journalism. And it seems like they're basically going to go in none of those directions. Like they came out with an announcement that they're kind of pivoting away from, it sounds to me like they're building basically a tool for like market analysts to use, basically. And so I don't know, there may still be a use case for journalism, but like, you know, some of the things that we've talked about with them on calls, Keith, like I'm not sure they're going to be pursuing any of those things that we were initially thinking about, talking about, like having a reporter to basically be like a DiamondDAO fellow or something and using their platform to report out stories. Doesn't sound like it's going that direction, but I'll keep everyone updated in case that happens. And then I'm wondering maybe if Spencer, if you can kind of talk a little bit about what's been going on with Sapien and also with PubDAO, if you want to mention that.
Sure, yeah. So there was the first Sapien DAO roundtable that they had, I think was going to be 420, but I think it ended up being 421 or something when their platform launched. And so there was a Twitter space, and there were around 8 or 9 DAOs that had representatives in this big Twitter space. There's like 900 people listening to this. All these DAOs brought their audiences. It's really cool. And Sapien's looking to make this a regular thing, like a DAO roundtable. And it's sort of replacing what was their internal kind of community call that they called Parliament. That happened in Discord, but they're moving this to keep it on Twitter Spaces and making the DAO roundtable a regular thing. So we're hoping to attend that. It's this Friday, I think, at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and it may be a weekly thing on Friday. And so that's something that we're gonna be getting more involved with. I know their platform is still at an early stage. They're looking to make it kind of like a Web3 version of Discord, but I think that they still have a lot of features that they're going to roll out. So it's yet to be seen what it's going for, I think. But I did just finish reading their purple paper, so I have a better sense of what they're doing. So there's that with Sapien, and then PubDAO is actually getting some more momentum too. There's the model we're using here is having little pods of writers. I got 2-3 writers, an editor, maybe a designer, and they group together into pods. And the initial kind of revenue model is going to be private pods, where there's this group of writers, and then there's a sponsor that's another DAO or a protocol or a company, any kind of organization that essentially contracts the PubDAO writers. And so PubDAO is offering a content as a service model. And then we're looking to have a bunch of pods that are each kind of autonomous in their operations. Each one would have like a pod manager. One of the writers would maybe kind of self-promote to a pod manager so that they wouldn't need to be centrally operated. And then part of the revenue that the sponsor is paying in our like retainer forms is going to be diverted to the PubDAO treasury to fund public pods and sort of content as a public good that wouldn't otherwise be funded in like normal market conditions when it's all about promotions. And so I'm like, as this is moving forward, I'm looking for ways that what we're talking about in JournoDAO can plug in, whether it's just like we can bring journalists into that ecosystem and get like journalists paid for doing certain kind of work, whether it's for a sponsor or for a public pod. There could be various ways that the JournoDAO and PubDAO can plug into each other.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to maybe collaborate when PubDAO is ready to begin moving into like non-crypto content. And just speaking for myself, what I would be excited about would be like collaborating on something like that. But I think you're plugged in, so I think there if there's other rooms for collaboration, keep us apprised.
Definitely.
Sweet. Lost my window. Okay. Let's see, anything else? So I have been repeatedly rescheduling a meeting with Nicholas from Metagame Hub, and we did. You might recall we did a Twitter Spaces with him. I met him actually in East Denver, and he's a really cool, smart guy. And Metagame Hub is super interesting, and for me, super educational. Not being like huge into metaverse stuff, and so we did do one Twitter Spaces, and then we have been continuously rescheduling a time to basically have him at a town hall where we could talk like more internally of like what is the opportunity with Web3 journalism and the metaverse and some of the different metaverse communities that they're plugged into. And I've just been rescheduling, frankly, because it doesn't work with my schedule. But I guess since we have like a bigger it just happened again. Like he keeps pushing. Like Friday is his open time, and it's like not a good time for me. So I guess I'm wondering if that particular avenue is of interest. Like, is anyone else here excited about the ideas for like Web3 news in the metaverse? I know there's like the metaverse newspaper thing going on with Sapien, but I guess I'm trying to gauge if there's any interest in maybe somebody else wanting to lead that conversation or pursuing a partnership with them.
I mean, I guess by metaverse, we specifically have in mind like the virtual worlds that you can explore. I think that's
yeah, like the existing ones. Like Metagame Hub is kind of like literally a hub for different like Sandbox and Decentraland and crypto voxels. It's I think the idea is to be kind of you know, the one-stop place for all your different metaverse needs. And we talked a little bit about like, you know, and they're building their own, you know, kind of metaverse, and in like app form. They're basically building an app that is, you know, kind of like a hub for all things metaverse. And we had talked about like very early on and very conceptual of, you know, what journalism in the metaverse could look like, and you know, pursuing some sort of partnership, but there's nothing concrete yet. And I think it hasn't been a priority so far. But like, if somebody is particularly enthusiastic about that, I think it's a good relationship to continue to build.
I know Sapien is planning what they're calling Metaverse Newspaper. I know we've talked about that before. If there's some way that we can, you know, funnel content into there, or maybe if we end up going the route where we have our own credentialing process, we can complement what they're doing with like real journalism that's sort of beyond just the scope of Web3 stuff. But I think they're calling it Metaverse Newspaper without, I don't know, it seems like their usage of that term is broader than like the common usage, where like most people think, like hear metaverse, they think like the games, like the virtual reality games.
Right.
And maybe what Sapien has in mind is just broader. Because I mean, we are spending a third of our lives on screens. So like we already have like 1 foot in the metaverse, but it's not just like virtual games and stuff.
I think that's good. So maybe I'll continue the conversation with Nicholas, and maybe we can see about trying to make the connection with Sapien. That might be an interesting way to take things. I think it's with Nicholas and with Meta Game Hub, I think it's super interesting, but we haven't built the relationship very much, partly because it's an area that I don't know shit about, if we're being real. But I'll kind of continue to keep that doorway open, and you know, if somebody joins JournoDAO that is like really psyched about that side of things, then we can just maybe plug them in.
I can say in basic summary what Meta Game Hub DAO is about. It's basically, it started off as DAO ownership of metaverse land, and they started off in Sandbox, and they've expanded to other different metaverses, and they've built a land valuation tool. So everybody would buy the token, and by virtue of owning part of that token as a DAO, you get collective ownership of land, and the DAO votes on what they will do to that land, on what parcels will be bought by the DAO and everything like that. So yeah, it's basically collective ownership of land and land valuation within the metaverse, and they're expanding beyond a lot of that now. And I haven't kept up as much as I used to, but that's how it started.
That's cool. Eureka, John, like, I wonder, what do you see, like any kind of an opportunity there in terms of what they're building for us?
I'm not really sure what the direct opportunity with journalism in the metaverse would be. I mean, it's becoming actually more of a question now, especially after we have the other worlds and the other deeds with the Bored Apes sale, you know, and them trying to be the metaverse of metaverses and allowing NFTs of all different, you know, walks of life basically into their metaverse. So any metaverse can cross-pollinate with the other world's metaverse. And, you know, this would apply with Meta Game Hub as well. It'd be interesting to see how they all kind of blend together and what journalism in the metaverse would look like. I mean, I don't think it would look like what we know journalism to be now. Yeah, maybe it could just start out with like a feed of land valuation, you know, as some kind of data news, and then branch out from there.
And that does sound like it's got some qualities in common with what I think Sapien kind of wants to do with the metaverse newspaper. But I don't know.
And also what you said earlier about keeping this connection open, and then if someone lands in our social network, to make that connection if they're passionate about metaverse stuff. I think that's a great example of what this as a professional network, what JournoDAO as a professional network can do.
Cool. Yeah, that's
like sharing connections, I guess.
And it might be nice to just have a bucket of things that are actionable, but they don't have any like champions at this moment or whatever, just in case somebody comes in and is like, what can I do? And we're like, well, we have these things that we know there's something there, but we haven't been able to pursue it.
For sure. Cool. Keith, you want to talk about what you've been working on? I wrote down the newsletter and the blog and the timeline and streamer, and there's probably more because you're a multifaceted human being.
I'm trying to get it so that my efforts benefit a few different places. So I think, JournoDAO and Factland DAO and Republic DAO are all in for my crazy governance scheme. So I've just been prototyping that. I've kind of been prioritizing that because it kind of unlocks a whole lot of different possibilities with those three DAOs. And that's kind of where my deep concentration time is going. But yeah, just to recap, we've got the weekly update, which I've been talking with. How are you feeling, by the way, Crystal? Are you recovered or?
Yeah, for the most part. I'm not a giant ball of snot right now. So thank you. Yeah.
I prefer smaller balls of snot. That's correct.
Yeah, now that we've kind of planted we're going to do this with like the weekly updates thing. I just want to get started on planning the next one sooner rather than later and start collecting what might be in the next one. Maybe it looks like the bank list thing wasn't in there. Maybe we can just have like we forgot, or just include it in like the next one. But yeah, the streamer stuff, I think at some point we're going to do, they're waiting to hire like a marketing guy or like girl or PR person or whatever. And they want to highlight like the JournoDAO use case of the streams. And it seemed like that was going to happen soon, but like a couple weeks ago, and now it's kind of indefinite. So just like back burner on that. Let's see, what else do I have? I think you kind of listed it all. As a result of doing all that, my brain's a little fried. So if you want to just treasure after me, not too much to show on the voting front, but I have been working on that a lot. It's just kind of a full-fledged like web app with smart contracts and stuff. So I'm trying to get the smallest piece of it done so we can play with it.
Yeah, I feel like the last month or so we've kind of been splitting focus between the streamer feed and that, incubating that progress, and then I'll just kind of like general outreach. And Keith, you've put together a lot of stuff so that I think when people, to help with outreach, and then when people land here, they can figure out what the hell is going on. Like the pretty comprehensive timeline you put together, that's cool. Is that so? Can you can you get to the timeline from the JournoDAO website?
No, I should I'll put up a link to that right now.
Yeah,
the timeline, I forgot about that. So that's something that needs help too, because we're gonna, at least once a month, I think we should just kind of do a retroactive like dump on there of all the highlights.
Yeah, it's really good. I think you have to have seen it in Discord to be able to get to it. I don't have the link to it right now.
The URL is /blog/about. It's like our about page in Ghost, but
okay. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay.
But I'll work on getting that just at the root about URL.
it makes us look quite accomplished, I must say.
Yeah, I really didn't until I started like assembling this list. I thought there would be like 6 things on there, but then it just kept being like, oh, and then we did, oh yeah, and then we did this. So that was pretty cool. And I started a feedback at JournoDAO.xyz email distribution for anyone who wants to be on that, since I put that email in the weekly update. And so anyone who's on that will get emails sent to feedback at JournoDAO. And somebody already, I guess somebody at Clarity saw our timeline and wants to like talk to us about how we use Clarity and do a little product interview.
Yeah, I saw that and I thought if I can, then I think they even had like kind of a workshop or something, and I actually think I could use that because I'm kind of terrible about new tools. I just kind of like roll around and like destroy things trying to figure out how they work instead of like taking the time to go through the tutorials. I'm kind of like the worst case user. So when somebody shows up and is willing to like hold my hand through it, it's actually something that's probably good for me to take the time to do.
I'd say that's the average user. I don't think
is it okay.
anyone really like does those tutorials.
Okay. But anyway, yeah, that seems worthwhile to maybe pursue. Cool. Did you want to talk at all, Keith, about the NFT concept?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. Did anyone here, I think some of us know about it, but the idea is kind of based around the Kevin Rose proof, like 1,000 NFTs, and he created this like proof community, and for like minting their NFT, they get just kind of like lifelong access to like high level like NFT alpha and research and all this stuff. And it's like the prices kind of skyrocketed and they used that capital to then like launch the Moonbirds NFT and stuff. And so just thinking along those lines, if we can find like, it doesn't even have to be a full 1,000, but just a few hundred believers in what we're doing, and set a price for the NFT that's gets us to some sort of budget goal or whatever. It seemed like a pretty good win-win, and all we have to do is promise everything that we ever do or whatever to anyone who mints it. But I mean, that's what they get for like taking a risk on us. So
yeah, I'm all into that. Oh, here's Justin. I'm all into that idea. And it kind of plays into the next discussion I thought we could have, which is just talking about outreach and in terms of, so far the strategy has been to just kind of slowly build things up through places other than Discord, and most of that's been centered on Twitter, and I think we've had a fair amount of successes, getting into the Bankless newsletter, and there's definitely people reaching out. Keith, you talked to that person from CoinDesk. How'd that conversation go?
Yeah, that was really cool. June Ian Wong does a column there on media and crypto. He's mostly looking at things from like how journalism covers crypto rather than like how crypto Web3 stuff could be used just for journalism in general. but he's still obviously very interested in it. So I just kind of gave him like the timeline so far and what we're trying to do, and potential roadmap. And he seemed pretty enthusiastic. I asked him to join, but he's swamped. He's started a few of his own communities, and I linked that in Discord, like basically journalists covering crypto. It's like, I think it's ACJR.
Yeah, they've got a pretty a Telegram thread that I've been lurking on. I think it's like almost 1,000 people strong. It's a pretty good discussion. But yeah, like him, I have a hard time keeping up with every thread that I'm in. So
yeah, so I think the ideal scenario would just be to have him be like an ambassador, or like somebody bridge those two communities and kind of like roll up any opportunities or partnership ideas. But yeah, I don't know when the story is going to come out. If it does, I told him to ping you, Eric, for at least some quotes, but also like follow-up questions and stuff. So we'll see. I think that's like the first of many. Maybe we should strategize about incoming press requests. Maybe set up another email for press at JournoDAO.
Yeah, that actually is I think that's a good idea. If not to show that we have that capacity, you know, I think it signals something positive for sure. It's a good idea to add to the website, and maybe an extra email account. So yeah, I think, you know, we've had some definite wins, just kind of focusing more outwardly, and just the other conversations I've had where, you know, sometimes just because every Web3 community is on Discord, sometimes it's not the place for them, and it's not, you know, not that I think it's still a really good place for having discussion, but there's definitely a fair amount of journalists that we've run into who are interested, but just like will not, they just can't clear the hump to you know, make an account on Discord if it's not someplace they already spend too much of their time. So yeah, I guess I'm just wanted to open it up in terms of outreach. You know, is anyone have any, you know, critiques, places we could improve, or maybe things we don't need to be focusing too much on outreach right now? So we don't need things we don't need the application form anymore. Yeah, any thoughts at all?
Well, do you want to give us some updates on the onboarding form, and like how frequently people are applying and what that process is?
I mean, the process is, so I mean, the application form is linked on JournoDAO.xyz. And I think you've got a few buttons on there where people can, okay, I'm getting a message from somebody trying to join. Okay. And I lost my train of thought here. The form. So I would say anytime that there's kind of, you know, we get any attention either on Twitter or like the newsletter, or somewhere else, or like the Sapien Town Hall, for example, there's always like a handful, 5 to 10 new people fill out that form. And then I've been going through, like realistically, I've been remembering to do it like every 2 weeks, going through and basically just, I think there's only 2 that I haven't gone ahead and invited. Like there's been 2 people that are like, hi, I'm here to invest in your token. And like, those are the only people that I haven't put through. Everyone else is like, if they have any background in really anything Web3 or media and seem to have a sincere interest, I go ahead and send an email invitation, and if they have a Discord, I'll DM on via them. If it's open, I'll DM them there as well. And pretty much all those people show up. I think we've had a couple here today, and that's the basic process. I mean, I guess the question is, if we just threw the Discord link, the Discord invite on the website like most DAOs do, I think we'd get a lot more people. I don't know if we would get the people we would want or the people that would be active in there. So I'm a little reticent to just kind of open it up like most DAOs do to just get numbers in the Discord. But yeah, would love to hear other views if there are any.
Yeah, I mean, I've managed, so at Unlock, I was the community manager. And so I had to herd all the cats. And we used our, one of the bots that one of our community members wrote to make people go through a process to join. So, and it was with, an Unlock token. So it worked, but you had to have multiple moderators to control that because the tech is a little squirrely. But it kept the community like really not small, but intimate, I guess. And that's what I like about JournoDAO too, is it's not, I go into some DAOs and I just hop right out because it's a dumpster fire and I have no time or desire to deal with that. So one thing we did at Unlock, because we had so many people that couldn't figure out the bot or just not follow directions, and I'm guilty of that too, is we had the channels be read only. And then if you wanted to engage, you had to go through the process of coming in. So that was one way that you at least had to engage with, the bot and follow directions to come in. So that seemed to work pretty good too.
And I think the only thing that sounds not ideal about that process is just the maybe having more people be able to onboard people so that they're not, I don't know, sitting in the queue for too long. Although that, if they're sitting there and they still join, then that's a good sign that they're super interested as well. So, but I don't know, Eric, do you think that's something that somebody else could help with or should, or?
Yeah, I mean, I would certainly be willing to hand off that end of things to anyone who's a little more savvy on that end, for sure.
Maybe even not hand off, but just you could both do it depending on who's available, or because it seems manageable right now, but if we do start growing, I could see that being 10 or 15, or as the numbers get up there, I don't know, it might become unwieldy.
I mean, I have the time to engage with the form if we want to stick to that for now, so that the growth is slow and deliberate. And then, if it scales up, then we could put in something like we can't use that sortie bot, but something, like a token gated access point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we could even start from scratch, because actually the form was put together by somebody who kind of came in and was active for a week, and I haven't seen them since. So I wouldn't even know how to, I don't think I have access to edit the form even.
Okay. Cool.
Well, I can put that on my list to redo the form and put it somewhere where we can all get at it.
Yeah, and I can check it, a couple times a week to just kind of slowly let people in so people can come in more regularly. And then I'll research. Guild XYZ was building on Unlock as a token gated platform, and they did a really great presentation. That was a couple months ago, so they probably built out more functionality in it. So I'll crawl under the hood there and get a better sense of what the onboarding process is for that, because that might be a really good way to, especially if we do the NFT thing, the Kevin Rose thing, then you can work that into the access point, the token gate, essentially.
Yeah, do you think we should, well, first of all, should we just move ahead with the NFT thing and just come up with what some next steps might be.
So that's kind of where I was taking this conversation. Yeah, the last time we were having a conversation with Miles, I think I was asking about the timing of doing the NFT, and I think you and Miles had kind of sold me on the idea that any time is the right time. So yeah, I think it just becomes a matter of kind of putting together the parameters, maybe a little bit of maybe thinking through a little more exactly, what like does this person get, like if you get the NFT, do you get like literally everything? There probably needs to be a little bit of language around what what you're entitled to. I'm thinking, and the only reason I really think of that is for like if we were to do like in-person events where it's a potential shit show if there's like 1,000 people who have like a right to attend an in-person workshop or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's something around like if what they have claim to is like a scarce resource, there will be some sort of like restrictive process around that or whatever. But they'll still have theoretically like front of the line privileges, even if we only reserve like 5 seats at an event or something like that. Then first 5 people of the NFT holders or something like that.
Keith, are you thinking that this NFT would be non-transferable? Is that something we've discussed?
This one would be transferable, so that as like a fundraising mechanism, so that not only would they be investing in like holding it for JournoDAO stuff, but then like if JournoDAO becomes like a desirable thing to be a part of, then they have upside to getting out of it and selling that. So I don't know. And then that gives us, I mean, the Kevin Rose model includes royalty fees baked in that come back to JournoDAO in perpetuity. And so it's like a recurring, you kind of want some active trading on it so that you get the recurring revenue. But this would be, yeah, I don't want to default to tradable. Like if anything, probably default to non-tradable. But like in this case, that's kind of its purpose, I think.
I want to just really quick say hey to Justin, who I think has been listening there for the last 10 minutes, but welcome.
Hey, thanks. Hope you can hear me.
Yeah, we got you. Did really quick and random question, because somebody else was trying to join and they were seeing something from my wife's Zoom account. Did that pop up for everybody when you first joined?
It was like the Somos or something I saw or something.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. All right. I'll have to try to fix that. Let's see if we can get Rena in here now. She was trying to join and was getting that. Yeah, I'm using, this is my account, but it's under my wife's name. So hi, Rena. Sorry for the confusion. Welcome.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me.
I wonder if Justin also joined a minute ago. I wonder if either of you want to do a quick introduction. Sorry to derail our NFT discussion, but. Rena, you want to do a quick introduction?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking to someone else. I apologize, everyone, for middle of the conversation. My name's Rena. I have been a TV news journalist for many years, worked for CBS, Fox, ABC News, and in the pandemic pivoted to start my own production company called Good Trouble Productions. And we focused on podcasting, a parenting podcast called Ask Lisa, and then a podcast with Melinda Gates called The Hidden Economics of Remarkable Women, trying to lift women who are in extreme poverty into entrepreneurship. And now I'm in the process of creating a second company focused on Web3 and creating a DAO to essentially fund independent journalists around the world. I spent years as a foreign correspondent and we constantly use these local fixers all the time, and they make nothing, and they have a read on the ground in a way that, us journalists who parachute in don't have. And I really believe in supporting democracy, and I don't believe you can have a democratic state without having a flourishing fourth estate. So that's something that I'm sort of working on and super passionate about, and noticed you tweeting, and was really excited that there are other people like-minded. So I'm happy to be here.
Awesome, welcome. That's super exciting, and actually I think dovetails with quite a lot that we've been talking about and working on over the last few months. So super excited to have you here and to maybe dig into what you've been working on so far.
Awesome, thank you for the invite. And I'm sorry I missed it. I clicked on the link and something, I don't have my camera on because the Wi-Fi is a little spotty here, so.
That's okay. Yeah, I'm using my wife's Zoom account, so she's a writer, and so yeah, her writing class stuff apparently came up in the beginning. Apologize to everyone for that. Justin, you want to do your quick bio real quick?
Yeah, sure. Hi guys, I've been and I apologize for any background audio. I'm at the gym, but I thought I'd listen in. Yeah, I've been kind of poking around the Discord channels the past few weeks. So I'm an engineer by trade, developer, whatever you want to call it. I was working at the Washington Post on their publishing platform. I was focusing on some curation technology there. And I left there. I was getting interested in Web3. I was interested in how Web3 can impact journalism, specifically blockchain, like the immutability, transparency aspects of blockchain. I thought it had maybe some implications for misinformation. And then so my fixation for the year following that point was kind of diving into that with a few other developers that I met online who were also interested in the area. And we did some research for a long time. We were like talking to a bunch of journalists and reporters and fact checkers to get their take on the issue. And then we were coming up with some designs and some initial specs and a little bit of development for some sort of blockchain system that could sort of tackle misinformation. There was a game theory algorithm we were really interested in, and it sort of fell apart under certain incentives. And so we decided not to pursue it. But all that learning kind of led me into a Web3 career. So now I'm at Parity Tech, which is the company stewarding development of Polkadot, where I'm working on a blockchain implementation for a company who's providing a smart energy exchange for the Australian grid.
Wow. It's cool to actually, I've heard your bio before, but it's cool to run through it again, just to be reminded of the pretty awesome breadth of experience and skills here in this, even in this group of 8 people. That's pretty awesome. Rena, the TLDR on what's going on here is, JournoDAO is kind of this long-term mission to buy a newspaper. We're actually interested in revitalizing journalism, I think particularly starting from like the local level up. So in the meantime, with that long-term vision to buy a newspaper and kind of give it Web3 tools, in the meantime, we're working on incubating some of those tools and concepts. The first project being a crypto-based feed that journalists can use to kind of control ownership and distribution of their own content. And we got some grant funding to develop a prototype that Keith's been working on. And then we've been partnering with JournoDAO to find some journalists reporting on the war to beta test it once it's ready for prime time. So that's kind of the 30-second quick version of what we're working on. And when you came in, we were talking about an NFT that we're talking about putting together that we would sell as kind of like a founder NFT that would give us some startup funding and would give the founders basically access to everything that we do going forward in exchange for being kind of a seed founder NFT OG. So that's where the conversation was at when you came in, and I think we were saying why not now, right? Where were we?
Yeah, I think next steps would be interesting to talk about, and we can take it pretty slow, like maybe just do something on testnet, run through a few different scenarios, and I think it'll take some time to put together some sort of concept for like the artwork, if any, that goes along with it, or what what is actually within the NFT besides just like this promise, and maybe some like upgradable metadata or whatever that we add over time.
Well, Crystal, you had some ideas, I think, on Discord that we could, reach out to some photojournalists to maybe work with them on the artwork. Is that kind of what you were thinking?
Yeah, I've got two colleagues on Twitter that I engage with a lot. Both, I know one is a Pulitzer Prizer. I think the other one might be as well. That have moved over not completely, but to NFTs recently, and are having some traction with their work. So I think they would be great to tap into because their work is beautiful. I used to study their work back in school. They're friends with my professors. So, and they're very passionate about helping bring journalists into this space because they see the potential for decentralization in Web3. So I think they'd be a great starting point.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome. I mean, what are some key next steps, do you think, to moving forward with this? Kind of talking through the specifics of what we're offering, the pitch, really, and Keith. So like, I don't think about this as a developer. I guess my mind would go to, okay, like what platform or like what tools are we going to use to do the NFT? But what are you're thinking of doing it all yourself, or what are you thinking?
Well, that would be the next step for me, is just to research some of the platforms, since they're changing so quickly and like running into ones that used to be considered like great, or running into limitations from the projects that they support and all that stuff. So my plan was to just try and get my arms around like the best breed out there right now, as far as just like automating it and doing like allowing anyone to like through a UI, and then also scoping out what that would take just to do our custom smart contract, given like the different features that we need. And maybe that's part of everything too, is taking all of our ideas and then like mapping that to like a set of like technical requirements for the NFT itself.
And Keith, if you want to collab on that, I mean, that's been my wheelhouse for a while. So done a lot of the artist-owned smart contract research, what servers they need to live on, the platforms, all that crap. So we can totally nerd out on that. And also the back-end utility parameters of the, whatever, do we put it on mainnet? If we did something with using unlock or a token gate, it does open up different chains, but then you got to deal with, Polygon. So stuff like that.
Okay.
At one point, the Good Morning News crew was game to help out with any NFT we were interested in doing. And then I know at some point I talked to him about it, and he said he had become swamped just maintaining Good Morning News because some of his community involvement had fallen off, and he was doing a lot on his own. But it might be worth kind of circling back and looping him in and saying we're looking to move forward with this. If you have bandwidth, awesome. If not, and he's actually in the DM that we have going, but hasn't responded in like a month. But I'm saying you can find the name there. It might be worth reaching out for a personal DM.
Mm-hmm. But I think we should have some sort of relatively like creative or unique idea for like what sets this NFT apart, other than just I think the access is the utility, but as far as like the whatever it is, like Crystal's saying, like whether it's the unique artwork that's associated with it or some sort of way that it changes over time, or something that makes it like that kind of places it in the JournoDAO mission, and not just kind of like a bolted on like NFT projects or something, if that makes sense. I don't have concrete ideas about that.
I mean, the Good Morning News concept is pretty cool. Have you seen that? It's
I haven't seen one like myself, but it's like they update the story that is contained within it.
Yeah, so it's you pay like 11, I think it was like 11 Matic. It was on Polygon, and you pay to become a subscriber to Good Morning News, and that gets you the NFT. And then he has contributors that are actually like writing a daily story every day, and then each morning the image that NFT references updates. So it's kind of a cool little. It is a new news story every day. I don't know how sustainable that is, and I think he's running into issues with it being sustainable. But like the concept of something that updates like that, even if it were, something that's, if we had like a streamer feed, up and running, like if that could feed into the NFT, or something iterative like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly what.
What do you guys think about having the NFT be the governance token, at least to start? Or would you strictly just want a fungible governance token?
Like you would use it to vote? How would that work?
I mean, it's the same thing. That's what Lobby 3 does. The membership tokens are NFTs, and we use them on Snapshot to vote.
Okay, so it acts as okay. So everyone with an NFT basically gets one vote on a Snapshot vote, for example.
Yeah, and so like people who hold the like founder pass could vote on what projects that we undertake or fund or incubate, perhaps.
Like as a bridge until the delegation model that Keith was working on.
Or yeah. I mean, or maybe it can plug into it, or just be a provisional thing. But like having a non-fungible governance token is an option, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure if it's necessarily better. I think there's like trade-offs.
I think it's good from a governance perspective. Like with the tokenization, we saw this with Unlock, because people were pumping and dumping the token itself. It really did. Once the DAO launched after that, it was months after that, it really dictated the governance channel itself and what the people were voting on. Their motives were completely different than what the DAO's mission was. So I think that's, if we did an artist-owned smart contract, you deploy the token when you create the contract. So then that token would be the governance token to vote with.
And it's also tougher to dump the non-fungible tokens. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we'll see how the other system plays out, but I think it can be kind of a race, and we'll see which one materializes first. That'd be interesting to at least, like, even if they're both kind of out there, maybe the NFT gives you some governance, like every round or something like that. That'd be interesting.
Or maybe there's some way to have both of them required to vote. Maybe you need the pass to use the fungible governance token, or maybe that's too complex. I don't know how that would be engineered, or if Snapshot allows you to have these kind of conditional things.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think I wouldn't want to like open the surface area to speculation on the governance side. So I think we should probably be careful about how those interface, but they probably should in some way. I would just think like, you know, if someone were to like try and manipulate things via the NFT, like what would that look like? And then I think the people who receive these, because the idea is like the non-transferable tokens are going to be delegated amongst like us or people who do work for the DAO, and like so people who are not financially incentivized but who have actually like contributed to the DAO mission. And so if like as it stands like in the model, like those people would take precedence over anyone who's like coming in with just a token that they bought like off the market. And so I'd probably want to keep those power dynamics in check, but definitely like, I mean, if I were buying into one of these founder tokens, I would think it would be a little weird if I didn't get any sort of like input into the DAO. So I think there's some negotiation to happen there.
Or could maybe the founder NFT token give founders like a larger say so that they can then delegate to those core DAO holders that you just mentioned that have, you know, sweat equity in it. So like that way they have to delegate, and they can always change their delegation. So they have an amount of power, but it has to roll through the core group first. I don't know if that.
I like that. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, maybe there's some way to have the founders who have this NFT pass, only they're the ones who are eligible to be delegates. Maybe that's.
I was thinking the other way, like where they can only delegate votes or whatever. So they're not ever directly voting on any issue, but they have the power to like, you know, make this person's vote count more or this person's vote count more. So they have input, but they can't like autonomously generate proposals or vote directly on stuff. So that might be interesting.
Yeah, and then give the founders also a container to have those conversations so that they have autonomy over putting proposals together, so that they have that, you know, strength, I guess, that voice, and then it rolls through the delegates as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I was going to say, sorry to interrupt. This is awesome. I am so thrilled to be part of this group and the ideas that are flowing. I apologize. I have to bounce, but I would love to keep to come to the next meeting and join you guys. I just can't say how much local journalism really matters right now. And the Pulitzers being handed out went to so many local places. And I think it's so important. Not that an award is validation, but I think it's a big deal. So yes, I apologize that I have to leave right now, but I want to keep the conversation going because I'm just blown away. I think there's so much synergy between what we're creating and what you guys are doing.
No worries. Thanks for dropping in. I hope you can make this one.
Sounds great. Thank you, guys.
Great to meet you. Thank you, Rena.
Great to meet you. Okay, you bet. Thanks again. Bye-bye.
I'm pumped that she joined this. That's cool. Was she in the Discord at all?
No, that's no. She's one of the reasons we're doing this on Zoom.
Yeah, good reason.
Well, yeah, I mean, I feel like I stand ready to support whatever needs to be done. I don't feel like I have a ton of expertise or as much experience in terms of getting into the governance and tokenization side of things. So, but if anyone wants to just kind of like point and say do this, I'm happy to.
and maybe just to keep things going, maybe we could like come up with all the potential ideas that we're seeing and then see if there's a way to just like launch something that could support theoretically any of those ideas like going forward, and then we can like continue kind of fleshing those things out and know that we can like bake that into like the NFT later on, you know. So, and we don't even necessarily have to launch it like open it up to be purchased or something, but just like get that in place so like we know where it's going to live, what it's going to do, what contracts and all that, what platforms. And then I just want to, if we bundle up too much stuff, then it's like it never gets done because it's always like more and more to complete or whatever. So I'm just thinking like, how can we get this part out of the way, and then we'll continue to work on like these things, because I could see some of these ideas taking a while to really like flesh out and think of all the details and how everything's going to like interoperate.
I mean, I'm pretty excited about just the basic concept and you know, working off kind of the Kevin Rose model you mentioned earlier. I also think it's super exciting to have photojournalists that Crystal knows involved somehow, and I like you know, what Spencer was saying about you know, involving it in governance as much as possible. There's parts that I'm going to have to go back and listen to again because I was trying to get Rena in the room, so I honestly missed a couple things. But it all sounds pretty great to me.
That sounds like you got it.
I got a quick question. You say the Kevin Rose model, that's based on NFT Portal, I believe. Are NFT Portal and Unlock Protocol, are they competitors, or how do they stand in relation, or at all?
I'll have to look that up. I'm sorry. I know when I left Unlock like mid-March, and our CEO was talking with Kevin Rose about his utility NFT, so I don't know how far that went. And a lot of like Mintgate and a lot of other token gating platforms, their underlying tech is coming from Unlock. So I'll reach out and find out what NFT is using. NFT Portal, is that what you called it?
Yeah, it's I believe it's NFT portal.xyz, if I'm correct. But right now they're closed to new projects jumping on because of all the mass popularity Kevin Rose has brought them. But and you know, I did kind of a comparative video of them both, but I didn't know if they were related in any way or if they're competing. So yeah, I'm just curious.
Yeah, I should be specific. When I say the Kevin Rose model, I'm talking about the proof.xyz club or whatever, where it's like there's only 1,000 proof NFTs minted, and then once you have that, you have access to like all this weekly, maybe daily, like research on NFTs and the market and everything, like high quality research, plus like airdrops and early access to stuff like Moonbirds, and I forget what the relationship was, but I think everyone who had proof NFT got some sort of early access to Moonbirds or something. So
I think it would be cool to maybe get down some action items that we could help kind of move this forward, and then come back and, you know, chart our progress next week. Like if it's helpful, I can kind of, you know, research what some of the best platforms would be. If you can give me some parameters, Keith, I can kind of help research that. Any other thoughts on? And then I think another thing that comes to mind is you know, just kind of beginning that kind of like document. I mean, we could maybe do a Miro board or just start a Google Doc on just kind of like what what we're thinking the NFT will include, just kind of starting to outline the project. Anything else that we could kind of do to move the ball forward over the next week?
It sounded like Crystal had done a lot of research already, so we should try and see where we can just pick up on that and or reuse whatever she's kind of investigated already. But I think it would be good, like if you wanted to set up some sort of doc or somewhere to capture like all the ideas and details and start moving things into like definitely going to do this, might do this, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I can set up a Miro board if that's what you're talking about, like a idea cloud.
Perfect. Yeah, and I can drop in the things I've already researched. I'll narrow it down to like my top, 3 to 5, and then we can take the conversation from there.
Cool.
Yeah, and then maybe it's just reducing all that at some point to like a set of like requirements to make sure that we know if there's going to be any like customization to like your standard NFT contract or how we're going to use what's already there, that sort of thing.
And then once we have those parameters set as far as what the NFT offers and maybe just a little more structure behind it, I'll reach out to my PhotoJ peeps and loop them in a little when it's solid. So
yeah, because if we take like the Good Morning News idea, it's almost like there's a personalized gallery space for like NFT holders where we can kind of push different, I don't know, different photos, different features, different whatever. So that might be good to make sure that there's like that capability in there. As far as like just pushing a new link or like the NFT points to this new thing, and it creates a reason to like keep updating or keep checking it and stuff. And then maybe from the artist side, maybe there's like a discount or something that they could offer to like NFT holders. Like if you do like something that you see like within the content that we're pushing, then as an NFT holder, you get to mint for like 15% off or whatever it is, whatever artists want to do. So it's kind of like a win-win for, it's like artists get like we're kind of doing the work of curating the art, I guess, as a DAO, and maybe that can be through governance as well. But then there can be like these slots within like the NFT, like whether that's monthly or whatever, that like this is our featured X, whatever it is.
Yeah, I fleshed out an idea similar to that, and maybe we can talk about this in another space or something, about having a curated collection that runs on our own token that could then serve as like an ongoing fundraising type of like art gallery. And then you can even take the art gallery into physical in real life galleries, because you have the contract. So the NFT gallery could import all the art into their physical space using this contract, that you just basically just take this collection to these different places, and then the funds are split through a multi-sig or whatever to the artist, but also to the DAO, and then the artist gets a ton of exposure just by being a part of that collection. It's kind of a longer term thing, but it makes sense in my head. I don't know if it makes sense in reality.
Cool.
Definitely.
Well, this has been super productive and super exciting. I am going to have to jump myself, and I apologize. I don't know if you can tell that my brain's been super scattered for the last hour and a half, but there's the wildfire evacuations are creeping ever closer. It's right before I started the Zoom call, there was an alert that came over that like the the like, prepare for potential evacuation is like, I'm at my office right now, not my house, but from where I am at the office, the like zone of a potential evacuation is just like a couple miles that way. So it's been a bit of a nerve-wracking day. So I apologize. I've never been happier that we finally have a decent recording of one of these, because I'm definitely going to go back and listen to this one.
Well, geez, let us know how it goes, man.
Yeah, I think the wind is going in the right direction, that it's probably not going to come into Main Street of my town, but it's like, it's where I, last week when we were on this call, and I was telling you about where I went and reported, and if you saw the story I put on CNET, all the places where I like stood and took photos and talked to people for that story, the fires rolled over all those places in the last week. So and just kind of keeps there. I don't know how they're going to stop it. It just kind of, there's like, it's just windy every day, and it gets hotter every day, and there's no rain in the forecast. So 2022. But thanks so much, and thanks John. It was good to meet you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and psyched to be on List of DAOs.
Yeah, and it's super refreshing. I've sat in a couple of these, and it's just super refreshing. You guys have an agenda. You're actually talking about this, and I think you had said the V word, vote. Like, wow, actually a DAO voting. Like, yeah, it makes sense. But I appreciate it, and yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, good to meet you.
All right, all. Thank you very much.
Okay.
See you in Discord.
Stay safe.
Thanks.
Easy. Bye.
Bye.